Good morning, good afternoon. I think it's past 12 now. So I had a really magical conversation with someone. He is someone who works on this house, does all like the plumbing and stuff. He's from Afghanistan and his name is Neimat. And he always comes over and I always thought he had good energy, but I never actually spoke to him. We never have small talk. He just goes, hello, and then he walks on. And today I spoke to him for about half an hour, and it was the strangest experience. Everything that I'm working through at this point in my life, he has lived through, and through making wrong choices or being influenced in the wrong directions or whatever, all of the things that I'm trying to work on, he's realized all of them, but from a wise, lived perspective. Everything. Like, I was speaking to my brother about all of these things, the fact that about facing your fears because they're a portal into a new reality. They are actually the things, the feelings that you should pay attention to, because if you get to the other side, you notice that you have this newfound inspiration and you're connected to your heart and yourself, and you're no longer in the grip of the devil. You're being guided by this pure loving essence, which is God, the universe, nature, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. And everything that I was explaining, this man Neimat was explaining that he had figured out all of this stuff, but at a later point in his life, and he made a lot of mistakes. Like, one of them, he told about Bitcoin. When it was first introduced, he called it online money or internet money. He said that somebody introduced him to it, and they said, was explaining about it, and this was before Bitcoin was popular. He had a feeling to buy it. He had a feeling that he would be really rich from it. But then, and then he went to bed. He didn't act on it. He went to bed, and then he woke up the next day. His mind was like, no, it's probably not going to be anything. And he left it, and then years went on, and obviously it's become what it is today. But he made a profound realization from that insight that he had a feeling and he ignored it. And I think we have these feelings and we ignore them. And within the last 5-6 days, week, since I started listening to my feelings, becoming in touch with myself through presence, I have noticed magical things happening, like this conversation. I'd never had this conversation before these 5 days. He's been coming here for years, and I'd never had this conversation. And it was like I just attracted it within the last 5 days. Hadn't seen him within the last 5-6 days, whatever, since I've started being moving along this path and surrendering myself to God and being guided by it. And today was the day that I just had the most amazing conversation with someone. And I was telling him, I was like, you should be a storyteller. Like, you should write this shit down. Like, I wish I was recording it because it was so good. It was so powerful. It was amazing. It was like I'm learning all this kind of stuff, but I'm embodying it as I'm doing it right now. Like, it doesn't have the same lived experience or story. Like, I'm very much a student at this point, and I can give you insights into my own experiences from school or from wherever. But it was amazing to hear someone older become conscious and then look back at his life, and he told me this quote, and it was like, you can only connect the dots backwards. And I was like, what does that mean? You can only connect the dots backwards. And he explained that when you surrender into God and you don't know where it's going to take you, you just follow the inspiration, you follow the love. You'll notice that you have no idea where you're going, but if you go back, you can trace the steps. Like, oh, I did this, and then it led me to this, and then I did that, and then that led me to go here, and that's the reason why I built this thing. Because you're being guided by something else, like, and that is just the most comforting thing in the world. Like, it's the most magical thing in the world that exists. Like, it feels like I've unlocked a part of this game which I was asleep to this whole bloody time, and it feels great. It feels great, and I feel really inspired by it, by all of this consciousness. I'm trying to remember what else he said. He's such a good storyteller. He was very slow, and he told me about how he grew up in Afghanistan, and about how there were issues with the borders. There would always be conflict, and he said that he always wished that the border could just be a little thin line, so there wouldn't be this discrepancy about where it is and who's on what side and where can I go and where can I not go. It was like probably these big areas which were a little bit dubious, so that there was a lot of conflict. And he said that was very frightening for him. And whilst he was there as a child, he used to dream of a lot of things. He used to dream of a world where everything was green and it wasn't like a waste, I think he said barren land, like how he described it where he was in Afghanistan. And he would dream of like everything was sugar, like he loved sugar as a child, he said. And then he said he came to England, and then he wrote something to the health organization in England because he realized that everything had sugar in it. And then fast forward, a lot of the sugar tax came and all this kind of stuff, and he started to realize this pattern where he started thinking about things or dreaming about things, and then they started happening. And he realized that he realized this pattern where he was thinking into existence. Like, he manifested all of this, like he manifested all these things. He was also talking about influences in his life, the fact that he was always really interested in computers growing up, but the influences that he had around him were like, oh, that's not cool, that's boring, like leave that, come, let's go out, let's chase girls, let's do this, let's do that, whatever. And he was just saying about how important it is to have the right influences around you, like the type of people who nurture you and believe in you and support you. And if you can't get that from the people that are immediately there, I think like solitude is the one. Solitude is the one. And then through that you then cultivate your energy, and then you begin to attract your right people, I believe. Yeah, I feel so grateful to have that conversation. It was so beautiful, and it really inspired me. I also had a really inspirational conversation with my sister yesterday. She was asking me about how I've been doing, and I was saying to her, yeah, I've been doing this and that, and she was like, yeah, it's really good. And I was saying to her that I have sort of like an amount of time now to just focus on this and focus on my self-education into spirituality and psychology and stuff like that. And she was like, Alex, like there was this really famous psychologist, I can't remember her name. She was I can't remember, it was like Nicola Lepera or something. I might have got one of the names in there right. And she is like a holistic psychologist, and she weaves spirituality into her thing. She gave me one of her books, and I'm yet to read it, but I will. But she said that she received a lot of criticism because of her bias, and I think she meant basically that when you're a spiritual teacher or a psychological teacher, that because you're speaking from your experiences, you have this bias, and it might not take into consideration people from different backgrounds, socio-economically or culturally or whatever. So she was like, Alex, that you need to get clued up about social theory and sociologically different cultures and different people in order to understand and have more of a well-rounded approach, which is great. It was beautiful. I was very inspired by it. I was like, yeah, I will do that. Actually, I will learn that. I noticed that that inspired me because I noticed that people speak different languages. Spirituality is one language, psychology is another language. There's almost like, outside of psychology and spirituality, there's just another language which is just like common sense language. It's like people don't want to hear sometimes all this terminology, and they don't really feel connected to spiritual concepts. And I want to learn all the languages. I want to be fluent and receptive enough to speak to someone and figure out the language in which to speak to them in order to pierce through what they believe, and then to inspire them to change for the better. That's what inspires me right now. I'm so excited by all of that. And yeah, I'm a student, and I'm excited every single day to follow this passion and to see where it takes me, with no expectations, just following my heart, staying on track, steadfast on my journey. And yeah, I feel very grateful for all of this. It was really nice to speak to my sister yesterday, and my brother got his results today for his A-levels, and he got into his first choice, so shout out to Christian. He did very well, and he's grown so much in such a short amount of time, and it's really impressive. He's very, very impressive for his age, and yeah, he's gonna go on to do really great things. So yeah, I feel very grateful, very, very grateful. I'm just learning a lot. Feels like I'm learning a lot every single day, which is cool. And yeah, I feel happy to be alive, and that's it for now. I think that's what I'm on today. And yeah, thank you for watching, for being here with me, and I love you.